There we go. We're live. Hope everybody can hear me. Welcome to the last episode of the Redman Recap. You've also noticed it's actually before the Redman Group podcast. Well, like I said, it's the last one. Sue me. The only topic we had on Redman Group going up was going to be body language. You can tell from my nervous shifting here, I'm trying to get things going. It's going to be a fun topic because while I'm not the worst guy at reading body language, I'm not the best either. So I love these topics so I get to learn as much as I get to run my mouth about. So that's going to be cool. John from Modern Life Dating is coming around. If you haven't seen it, he just unleashed his body language course on a manosphere. I've been talking about it a bit in my newsletter. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's ryanstone.com/newsletter. Got to look at a sneak preview of it. It was pretty impressive. It reminded me of the other guy that I follow when it comes to learning about body language. That's Joe Navarro. If you guys don't know, he was at the 21 convention in 2017. He was talking about his time as an FBI interrogator and his work with a lot of government agencies and that. I think he was doing some time in Iraq as well. Super cool stuff. But the part that I liked about it, it kind of reminded me of the old mystery days. So you see a lot of these guys that are very good professionals in their field and they're developing body language and stuff. But then John took it and applied it towards dating. And I like how you can kind of see the juxtaposition between the two things. Like how would you interrogate a witness versus, how you can tell if a girl wants to fuck you. So those, if you guys don't know, right now I got one of the newest guys to the manosphere. In the Navy, we used to call him the popcorn PO, but it's Jack Napier. Hey, Jack.
Thank you, Ryan. Hope you're doing well.
Oh, yeah. So far, so good. I really got to I can't wait till you kind of get into your groove and get the full you out there because it's going to be so much better when I can give a way better introduction than that one for you.
I'm working on it. It's been a very busy week, recording the audiobooks, making my own videos, getting the email list running, and I've been experimenting with Twitter, as you might have seen, of all the brain farting that comes out on there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a gong show, isn't
it? True. So, yeah, thank you for having me on. That's first thing I'd love to mention. And speaking about Joe Navarro, next Red Pill Reads is going to be on what everybody is saying. And I actually plan on doing 2 Red Pill Reads this week because I just got the Dictionary of Body Language by Joe Navarro as well. Ooh. I tore it apart, actually, what everybody is saying. It's an easy read. It's only 200 pages. So, yeah, I think I can get the Dictionary of Body Language done before Tuesday, I believe, and I'll just record another Red Pill Reads as well back then.
Yeah, that should be fun. I like those, by the way. It's super neat because I noticed, the manosphere has always had that little bit of social awkwardness to it, but with this new generation of guys like me and you and Donovan and that, It's neat to see guys have a more rounded skill set. Like the idea of having a masterpiece theater for a bunch of dudes was unheard of 5 years ago, and here you are starting it up, and it's picking up steam really quickly, which is cool.
Yeah, it is. I got into a conversation with Hunter Drew today. I was like, wow.
Huh. Is he in his new office yet?
It's almost done, I believe, and I think I've got you to thank for that because you've been really pushing my work forward, which I'm very grateful for. But he also knew about the audio.
Dude, it's funny. I've had somebody else say that same thing before. JD Rowell, he was one of the guys who was on the Married Red Pill, and he's like, "Oh, thanks for giving me some juice." Like, first off, my juice doesn't count for much, but that's not really the point. The point was, thank you for not making garbage content.
I do my best. My best.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I was thinking about this. There's so much. Like, Jordan Peterson has kind of shown what the ceiling was to a man who can articulate man stuff and not sound like he's on the spectrum when he does it. So, if he were to disappear tomorrow, that's how many people that usually follow him, like 80 million, 70 million, something like that.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. So those people are clearly dying for any masculine message. So at this point, I just want to, anything that I even find half-ass interesting, I'm going to throw it out there just for others. Hopefully they get value out of it or can show me some new stuff. So it's really cool. But
yeah, that's really the nice part about my work, because I introduce things to all those guys they can read for themselves. It's like, don't only follow me. Here are the books that I've read to get where I am now, so you can get there as well. And just like you just said, an all-round skill set. Well, body language may be, well, of course, game. Even Rolo says that if you have one, you should have game. But applying game to who? Body language really turns his head around there. And Art of Seduction mentions this as well. Choose the right victim, and how to know to choose it really comes down to body language, in my honest opinion. Because when a woman wants you, either just to see if she wants to fuck you in the long run, is being she displays that with body language.
Yeah.
Even these subtle little hints, like if she has no reason to be in your space, just to call it like that, then chances are she's interested in you or either getting to know you. And a lot of guys fail to see that.
Oh, for sure. So many guys do. And it's very obvious if you're on the outside looking in. But you know what that reminded me of? Have you read Wisdom of Psychopaths yet?
I've started it and I'm halfway through.
Oh, dude, I cannot wait for you to add that to your reading list. I loved that book. It reminded me of, they were bringing up a study. Now I got to do the Alex Jones things where I look in the back of my head for the space aliens, but no.
They're turning the freaking frogs gay. Which turned out to be true, which was funny.
Yeah, that's funny. A lot of his stuff is true, but you kind of have to, like, he just throws it out in like this Robin Williams rant, but then you actually have to look into it and you're like, oh, I see where he was going with that. A little hyperbolic, but whatever. But no, the part I liked about Wisdom of Psychopaths that just brought on what you said there was they had this part where the guy was talking about how he put a bunch of psychopaths in a room and he showed them a bunch of videos of people walking down the street and he asked them, like, criminals, right? Like, who would you mug out of all these people? And it was weird. They had like this radar and it was like a combination of body language and intuition where they could just tell which ones were the soft targets. Mm-hmm. And that totally reminds me of that. And that's why I love that book, because, I mean, that and the other lesson, which is kind of tangential, where he talks about how they have more of like a present day mindset. They're not thinking of the future. They're not dwelling on the past.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cool, and you're going to love that when you get to it. There's going to be an experiment where he has like this giant cinder block on a forklift. It's actually styrofoam, but everybody thinks it's cement. Mm-hmm. And so he slowly drops it on their chests. And the idea was, like, if you see a cinder block come in and fall on your chest, that's like a ton or something like that, it's going to crush you. So you start panicking.
Yeah, that's like Indiana Jones shit.
Yeah, but it turns out the psychopaths, like, oh, it's not hurting me now. So they were like calm as shit until like it actually got to touch them. And that's when they started getting that response. So it was kind of neat.
So like that emotional reaction is far more delayed compared to the physical reaction.
Yeah, like they get out of their own head and they stop thinking so much. It's kind of like my last YouTube video was on that point, to the guys that are thinking too much and they end up making excuses for themselves. Or my favorite is this quote. It was the curse of the intelligent man. Have you heard about this concept?
Yes, I've read your post on it as well.
Yeah, curse of the intelligent man is he can rationalize anything. And I swear to God, if you spend any time in this space on Twitter or Reddit or wherever, you're going to see guys basically talk themselves out of any success they could have in things. It's so weird.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not necessarily. Yeah, they talk themselves out of any success and they rationalize every little detail of every possible situation. Within the beginning, isn't that all bad because you need to learn? But there comes a point where you just chalk it up to experience. You failed. So what? Done. Next.
Yeah, I like that.
They keep lingering on situations that have been, instead of applying the lessons they've learned from that to the situations that are yet to come.
Totally. All right, so I'm going to switch this one quickly here because I got to get your thoughts on this. Do you know who the hell Corey Wayne is?
Yes, and good thing you mentioned this because I want to do a Red Pill Reads on his book because I've seen guys who have asked about it, but nobody's really giving a stern opinion about it. And I have to say, I'm positive about the book. I have read it 15 times as he prescribed. Yeah, as he prescribed, because, well, if somebody tells me you should read this book this many times for it to actually work, I want to know if it actually works. The criticism is that he's either blue or purple pill. However, I have to say that most of his work has been based on red pill principles, but he skims it down. He doesn't mention hypergamy and things like that. He doesn't talk about the divorce laws and all the other crap. But the positive things he really put forward, and yeah, I think this is mostly Purple Pill, but he shifts the blame on when it goes wrong on men, and that's the only thing that I half on half agree and disagree. Because yes, there are certain points where a man truly is at fault, like comfort tests.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize this yesterday, but I passed my first comfort test where I actually realized it was a comfort test. It was so weird. But it's not all shit tests. It isn't. There's comfort tests as well. And for guys who don't really know how to pass a comfort test, I do suggest Corey Wayne. So yeah.
I'm looking at his YouTube thing right now. I don't know, first thought is yeah, he's got to get a little more of an edge on him. He looks a little too
salesy.
A little too wholesome, I guess is the kindest way I can describe it. Yeah, whatever. I'm sure he's fine. I love the guys who say that he is red pill or he is blue pill. I hate that tribalism crap.
Mm-hmm.
I find there's a huge overlap between those guys and then the guys who don't really do anything red pill. They just like saying they're red pill. It's kind of like calling yourself a punk in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, but still listening to Green Day.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's an awesome reference.
Like, have you ever heard of Black Flag? No, but I do like Billy Joel Jr. or whatever the guy's name is.
Look at you with all these 80s references. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, seriously, I want to put this out. If I ever talk to Rolo, I guarantee you that the word hypergamy will not be mentioned once because I'll be fanboying by the fact that he was in 80s bands in the Los Angeles scene. So probably only be Slayer and what kind of amp did you get and what kind of guitar and why not a tube amp and why Marshall and why not, etc., etc.
Yeah, I do like it. Other than the fact he likes Ibanez's. But all right, so I'll leave him here. The blame thing is kind of weird and childlike, but whatever. Alex, I'll get to your Alex Jones podcast thing in a sec. Bro here has a great one. We do have a lot of day game with friends, yet there's an 80% chance that you hear I have a boyfriend. Any ideas on how to go about it? It's just a shit test, dude. Like, you got one of two scenarios. One, she actually has a boyfriend. Or two, she doesn't have a boyfriend. She wants you to fuck off. Girls get approached for sex so often that they often just come up with reasons to like quickly filter out guys, and just telling them that I'm not interested is an easy way to do that, because then guys would be like, oh, okay, I respect the women, and then they leave. So all I would say from this is doing day game with friends. First off, you're not swarming a girl with 5 of you, I hope, bro, because that's damn creepy. Or like leaving your table while all 4 of them gawk at you. Like, gotta get a little bit lone wolf on this one. Just have guys as your anchor and all rotate around each other. But I mean, I could give you a bunch of canned responses where somebody would say, I have a boyfriend. You go, oh, I do too. And carry on. You can do a pre and amplify like that. Or use mastery where you just kind of ignore it and keep plowing through. But the gist is you just don't let it phase you. You keep escalating, make things sexual. And if she doesn't want to have sex with you, like, she will let you know. And this is like the body language is probably the best thing here.
Yeah, she did. Like, this is so funny. Like, body language is the language everybody speaks, but not everybody understands. And I mentioned this to, I can't even remember who I mentioned this to, a friend of mine or something like that, or a coworker. I'm like, yeah, girls say no, but act yes. Have you ever seen it where she's like, no, but still she's facing towards you. She's touching your hand for reasons that aren't even necessary to touch somebody for. Her eyes are wide open. Pupils is a must-known detail about this. How are her pupils? Like, are they wide like she's on cocaine or something, or LSD? Or are they very small and eyes are half closed, like she's squinting at you?
So you know what's funny? I could never, like, all the time I ran game, it was mostly night game. So because of the lighting, that was like a thing I could actually use. I keep hearing about it, but I've never seen it. I mean, obviously with my girl now, but I mean, at this point, I just assume everything's a go signal.
Everything's a go. I don't know how far you'll get with that mindset, though.
Oh, the Gronk method? Deceptively far. It really gives you a gauge on how your fitness program and your diet's on lock. If
They
you're getting
call
a
it
little bit too chubby, then it doesn't work. But then once you start cutting it back down, you start realizing it works again.
True. It's all about looks. Isn't that the old Brad Pitt rule? Like she says no, but if you were Brad Pitt.
Oh, yeah, that one there. And I like that too, because everybody all of a sudden were like, oh, the concept doesn't matter now because Angelina Jolie divorced him and took all their African kids away. And I'm like, that's not the point.
No.
The point was a mindset thing where like if you were the most attractive man she had ever met, would she still be doing what she did now? And it's supposed to be a self-reflective mental model. But the fact that guys spurred it into like my sex life depends on how well Brad Pitt's marriage is doing is just I don't even know where to start.
It's called the manosphere, right? Not the manosphere.
Yeah, but that's always the thing too, because I mean, if you're the kind of guy who's willing to talk about this stuff openly and dissect it with like a level of detail you're going to get a lot of socially inept people, I guess is the best way to put it. So like it kind of comes with the territory, but whatever. Speaking of which, too, did you watch that Joe Rogan thing with Alex Jones when they made up after their big fight?
Not yet. I hope to watch it tonight. I've heard people talk about it endlessly. So if I want to get with the crowd, I have to get off this hipster mindset where I will not conform. But yeah, guess we all have to be adults sometimes.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. See, I was big on the steel beams, jet fuel thing back in the 2000s there. So I love me a good conspiracy theory. It's entertaining as hell. The thing I liked about it is Joe was, at some points, he was kind of treating him like a child he needed to wrangle, which is fine. But it was kind of like watching Robin Williams have a conspiracy theory, the way he's going off. It was actually kind of funny. There were so many parts in there where he just calls him, like where Alex is like, so I'm kind of retarded here. It's like opens with that. That's his opener. It was hilarious.
Well, it sets the mood.
But it's neat. Yeah, you watch them and they have like a great rapport between the bunch of them there. I mean, the content itself, it's whatever. He's trying to make connections among things that aren't really there. But it was just entertaining on the fact that you can watch guys talk about dumb stuff that guys do. Like that's the same level of banter you would see on a bunch of girls doing a makeup tutorial, but with whiskey and I guess weed. I'm pretty sure Rogan was high as hell.
Yeah, well, there's a clip, right, where Alex smoking a blunt, something like that.
Oh yeah, that was his first podcast with him. It was actually kind of funny. He got him a little high, and then he started ranting. That was just before Joe became a CIA mole, and Alex had to hide from him because the aliens were coming and all this stuff. But it's good. Like, say what you want. As far as people that are on the spectrum in some form or another, or that socially awkwardness, he's kind of like the king. Like, he shows how charismatic you can be with that level of, I keep calling it autism, but I don't, social ineptness, awkwardness, whatever you want to call it.
Being different.
Yeah, exactly.
But the stupidest thing is, and I truly think it's stupid, they banned him. Like, they keep telling everybody, no, he's wrong and he's insane and yada, 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 and they ban him. Why ban someone who you know is wrong? I never understood that, because they're giving him what he wants. Now everybody knows Alex Jones is the guy who got banned from anything because they don't like what he's saying. But that's just my 2 cents about that whole thing. And I love it that Rogan still has him on. Oh, yeah. Rogan's got FU money. He doesn't have to do anything. If he does, he could stop everything he does tomorrow and be fine. Like, this is a guy that paid $10,000 a month to have a business line, internet line brought into his house in the 90s so he could play Quake with faster latency. Like, he doesn't need the money. That Fear Factor money, all those cod dicks that people were eating, like, he can work with that. That's enough for a lifetime. If you have that amount of money, like, who cares what you spend it on?
Yeah.
I want to play Quake.
All right, so I'm just quickly looking up to the chats here, see if we're missing something. Alex is right. It is a 4.5-hour podcast. I'm halfway through it, and I still haven't caught all the greatest stuff yet. Gap Lover works alpha. I make a horrible boyfriend. Okay, yeah. So you guys are kind of getting the idea. There's all these kinds of lines. I will say this though, on Gap Lover's point, the line you say doesn't matter so much as how you say it. Like, I will say that subtext and body language is probably about 80% of the way that you communicate. The words you use are irrelevant. And if you don't believe me, you can try what I did back during like peak pickup when I was starting to get a little bit bored of it.
Mm-hmm.
I would just make stuff up or say things just to get a rise out of the person with a big shit-eating grin on my face. And then the idea was like, I wonder what I could say to basically knock me out of the park with this girl, like knock me out of the running. And it's deceptively hard to play if you have your act together and you know what you're doing. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, isn't that the guy who gets the hardest rejection pays the drinks?
Yeah, that game. I heard about that one. It's been fun. I've never been able to get guys to do it with me because no guy wanted to fail and the other ones were in relationships. So they would just walk up and say, I'm married. And then the girl would walk off. And have fun with your drinks, boys.
That was one hell of an opener. You just walk up to her and you say, I'm married.
Yeah, keep in mind, this was like 2000. I think this one was 2008 at the time. So, I mean, back then, that still like worked on creeping women out. Nowadays, I think that'll probably win you a girl.
Now, Tate had a good one. He was like, when a girl says, I have a boyfriend, you just go, so don't tell him.
Damn. Hey, you know what? It calls it right out. It puts it on the open thing there. And the girl that responds well to that, guaranteed is DTF.
Yep.
It's like the Nigerian prince scam. It's such a ridiculous scam that if somebody actually falls for it, they're the exact, like they've completely filtered to the type of person who would give random people money off an email.
Yeah. Just like you said, it's just a shit test. Like most of these, Aaron Clary mentioned this as well in Bachelor Pad Economics about the state of women and, well, yada, 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 yada. And most rejections he got were, I have a boyfriend, and he just flat out says, every girl has a boyfriend right now. How you deal with it is your choice.
He says a lot of things. My favorite quote of his, did you see that one where a girl is never ready to be married until she's a single mom? I'm really butchering it. I'm not doing it justice, but it was probably one of the funniest things. I'm surprised it didn't go all AJ Cortez viral on that one.
Oh, yeah,
it was just
AJ went viral.
Hilarious.
AJ went viral with that tweet, which wasn't that offensive at all, actually. But strange world we live in that goes viral, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I have a theory on that. Here, actually, I'm going to do a segue. We're going to split this up into 2 episodes.
Nice.
Bam! Look at that shit.
Wow.
Yeah, with the AJ tweet. All right. That's so when I go back to edit it, I can actually see where this part was. It's really hard to like cut a conversation in a good segue. But AJ's tweet, his theory is that it went as viral as it did. I mean, first off, you got to get in front of the people, but that it was an attractive men telling them the same thing that incels do, so they can't just dismiss it out of hand.
True.
And which is funny, because I mean, I've looked, and you look around, there's tons of these everywhere. WikiHow even has on their site like a little how to be attractive guide, and it essentially says the same thing. But it kind of lends credence to my theory that when it comes to persuasion, the ethos is greater than pathos, is better than logos. So like your status matters, your attractiveness matters, then the emotional content of what you're saying, and then like the appearance of logic's a distant third. That's been another one of my problems with the manosphere, is that everybody focuses so much on the logical things of it, not realizing that like nobody cares. That's why Dr. Oz, who isn't even a doctor, can go and give medical advice and people will listen to it because it sounds logical. It's not because he's logical. It's not because it makes sense. It's because he's a doctor and Oprah likes him.
Yeah, he has the status.
Yeah.
He has the status, so whatever he says will go. Yeah. And it's the same in fitness. You can be the biggest roid head and everybody can know you're not natural. Whatever advice you give, people will believe because you're big enough and everybody knows you're big enough.
Yeah, I mean,
like if a guy like that says, stand in your head for 30 seconds a day, every day, and you will get abs, I guarantee it. He can make a course on it. He can become a millionaire because people will believe it, because the guy who says it works looks like the guy they want to look like.
Yeah, and I can't even fault him for it too, because you think about it. Like, would you take dating advice from a guy who's never gotten laid? Probably not.
Of course not.
So, but a guy who looks like he gets laid a ton, you probably would. It just means, or somebody who teaches you how to do body language, who hasn't actually watched people, he just got it out of a book, you probably won't follow it. It's another reason why I should really put a link to John's course in the thing here. It's good. Like, for what you pay, I was to me, it's about 3 nights out at the bar. Now, when I was doing pickup, it was probably 1 out of every 4 nights I would pick up. So for me, that's essentially like, it's not even cutting it. It wouldn't even cut it to my end count. And I would get a lot less hangovers and a lot less colds, because I don't know about if bars are still like this or they are where you're at, but the porters are way too lazy to leave it that extra 5 seconds in the rinse cycle of the dishwasher. So I always catch like whatever single mom's kid brought home that day disease. I think it's because I also like the vodka sodas. I didn't like getting too bloated or being the guy holding there drinking a beer. It was just too chavish for me. I didn't like it.
No, I can imagine. I never was a big going out guy myself either. The lines, and it was cold, but you were cold because you wanted to dress nice, and you can't dress warm if you want to dress nice, and things like that. And when you finally got there, it was either a sausage fest or I didn't know enough about game yet.
Oh, God, yeah. I'll quickly do bro here. He said, you mentioned you did night game. We did it as well, yet the biggest issue was loud music. How do you deal with it? Have you heard how fucking loud I am?
Body language.
Body language helps.
Body language.
A big, goofy smile, lots of arm gestures. I called it Dane Cook game. Like, you don't have to be funny, but as long as you're animated when you do it, people will pay money to watch you at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, look at Owen from RSD. I mean, by God, you can say whatever you want about him, but he is animated.
Which one is Owen?
The guy with the beard, Tyler.
Oh, the fat guy?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I want to start. I don't mean to hate on the guy, but I kind of want to call him like if Mrs. Doubtfire and that redhead from Game of Thrones had a kid.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I can't harp on them. I mean, they're doing successful. I don't buy what they're selling. They're really pushing hard on the pathos, but I mean, whatever. Question is, here's the theory. Somebody had a theory that what's the new one? RSD Sarah.
Yeah.
They're saying that she got the job because she's sleeping with Owen. Now, I have no idea if that's true. That's pretty much Alex Jones BS here, but me, I like to believe it just because I don't like the idea of women giving men dating advice.
Yeah, but if it's true, then why is she the first? Because he has slept with, well, how many should have been? Hundreds, maybe even thousands of women. So if that's true, then why is she the first female dating coach? That's the first question I get. Because you cannot sell me that that's the only reason. Otherwise, that would have been more.
Yeah, that's a good point. Heck with it then. This is one of those things I'm clearly never going to figure out. And even if I asked, she'd probably give me a bad answer. I just lump her in with
his long lost daughter, and she's blackmailing him. I like that one far more.
Actually, I'll go with that one.
Yeah, I'm Alex Jonesing this one.
Yeah. Oh, here. Yeah, you're right. Thanks. Tyler Owen used to be quite skinny and fit. He helped out a lot with the state mindset. It actually helps in day game. That's great. So did Roosh, but he's telling you that watching butts on TV makes you gay. So, like I said, I can like the message. I don't have to like the guy, although I don't really know him, so I shouldn't really have a strong opinion anyway. Pimp Juice. Ooh, this one's edgy. I tell you what, Pimp Juice. The last 20 minutes of this thing, it's going to be specific for the Patreon subscribers. His question here was the Anthony soap commercial gave me douche chills. To get onto that one, that's a little more controversial of an opinion, so I'm going to save that for the Patreon guys only. For you guys, I think you just check the post. You'll see it's in there. Once we're done here, I'm going to quickly switch over to that one. Because we used to be skinny. Good for him. I don't know. Like I said, I was always an M3 guy, so I like mystery. Even though he's a bit of a gong show and Neil Strauss is kind of a gong show, I always got a soft spot in my heart for him. I'll always buy him a beer.
Funny you should mention mystery, by the way, because you just said, would you take dating advice from a guy who never got laid? But with mystery, it's a whole different level, because if you've read the game, you know mystery is suicidal and things like that.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't take advice on life happiness from him. Don't get me wrong.
Oh no, absolutely not. No. But it is something I take into calculation when I take somebody's advice. Like, who's in front of me? Like, yes, he can get any girl he wants, but it goes back to the old children with dynamite thing. Like, something inside me would tell me, like, yeah, he gets it done, but there's something he's missing.
Oh, I agree.
Not noticing.
Well, that's the thing too. I've noticed there's a difference between LTR game and like plate game. If you have a girl that's a
Mhm.
girlfriend, and if you're the kind of guy who calls your girl a long-term relationship after 90 days, like you're not that guy. I'd say it's at least a year till you can start throwing the title LTR. Until then, it's just a plate. And if you only have one plate, that's your problem. But yeah, it's a totally different set of skills. And I think that's one thing the Red Pill kind of advanced off of pickup was that they learned that, because a lot of these guys, they started pickup in their 20s and then they got into relationships and then they went sour and they just decided to take the same lessons they learned in pickup and apply it to what was going on in their lives. And that's kind of how the Red Pill got going. Well, that and Ian Ironwood, he worked in porn as, I think he was like the shrink on set for porn stars and that, or marketing. I'd have to go back and look. I really do miss the guy. Manufacture fake argument from time to time. Best advice you ever gave. Pimp juice. You definitely are the pimp and you got the juice, brother. We were just talking about that, or the guys were just talking about the day in the Married Red Pill, actually. Have you heard? So you've heard my thing on manufactured outrage, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
right.
Call her a cunt, and then 2 minutes afterward, you're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, so one of the guys actually did his. I hope I still left it up because it was just hilarious. Where, screw it. I'll remember an older one. So this guy, Ultimate Cad, I think he's like my Married Red Pill hero because he's kind of about as dark triad as you can get towards marriage. His wife got a little sneaky, started doing some stuff behind his back, lied to him about it, and he just kind of looked in the mirror one day, realized he was a big fat fuck and needs to get his act together. So he got jacked, but then he didn't like her anymore because he knew he couldn't trust her, but he didn't want to be estranged from his kids. So he decided, you know what? We're going to go do our own things. All I got to do is last till the kids turn 18. So he went and had his fun, and he plowed through the neighborhood, which good on him. But he saw that, and this is like a good example of how it wasn't just good for getting your wife to keep desire for you, but he actually does a teaching lesson. It was the coolest thing. So the wife would rag on his kids all the time over dumb stuff, like in their kids, right? Like they'd lose a mitten or something, but the kid was 4, I think it was. So you can't really yell at a 4-year-old for doing what 4-year-olds do. So he thought he'd teach her a lesson, and he hid her gloves, and then she started freaking out and having huge temper tantrums and that. And then at one point, he finally picked him up, threw him back at her, and kind of used it like, here, now stop yelling at your kids because you can't find anything. I'm really not doing the story justice, but it was really clever the way he put it. A lot of guys crapped on him over it too. It's like, that's so petty. How dare you do this stuff? And you're like, you know what? He's like, you know what? She screwed me like a porn star that night anyway. That was the weirdest thing. Like, he absolutely hated her, but they still had a healthy sex life and, I mean, raised the kids fairly properly. He just was checked out of the marriage.
Well, I don't think that's strange at all, because hate sex is the best sex.
I want to say that, but on the day that Canada made weed legal, I decided to finally go hard, and I kind of want to say weed sex might be the best, but like I said, I'm a bit of a noob.
I never had that. I did have drunk sex, but I completely lose regard for human life when I'm drunk and horny. So yeah, that may have been better for her than for me.
Drunk sex is what got me out of was when I stopped paying attention to my end count.
Oh,
I think I'm trying to get a post out on this, and I've been doing my best. It started on my email list. It's kind of like going to be the start of my book, Fuck Files, like from Fuck Boys.
Nice.
But I met this girl, and she was talking to me, and I was like hitting her on, doing my night game thing as usual with my buddy Mike, who was beside me. And then she started asking like all these questions about stuff that like people that know me knew. And I'm like, how do you know this stuff? I'm like, don't you remember? I'm like, no, what? It's like, we had sex. I'm like, oh, like it was the weirdest thing. Like I just met this girl and no idea who she was. Apparently we've already had sex.
Oh my God.
And it was then I realized, like, why am I even caring about end count if I can't even remember it? So I think that was like it was close to 30 around that one, and I just stopped counting at that point, which sucks now because now when I give like an ish, then naturally you guys think, oh, that means it's the lowest end divided by 3, and it's like, no, man, I just really stopped remembering, and I'm pretty sure I got some blank spots in the memory. Oh.
You would say that's a life goal, but I don't know if such a point is really something.
Oh, it is. This is the thing. I argue this all the time with the Red Pill, where people always talk about, well, why aren't you trying to save the Western civilization or all some higher level goals? And I go, that's kind of not where the Red Pill is. Like if you look at the Maslow's hierarchy, I'd say it's right in there at number 3. It's the belonging aspect. And people keep looking to Red Pill as if it needs to give them self-actualization. I'm like, no, man. It's the belongingness stuff. All that self-actualization stuff, that's on you.
Yeah, what do you think is number one? Because I do have a number one for me, but I wonder which one is
Number
yours.
one, what?
Well, you said like saving the West and things like that on number three, but what's one and two?
Oh, how did it work? It was self-actualization, or automation, self-efficacy, belongingness, a nest egg, and then survival. I think it was, wasn't it? Let me pull it up.
Is that Maslow?
Yeah.
Yes. Because I truly think mental point.
That's the one. You were saying?
I truly think that mental point of origin is, well, maybe the solution to most guys' problems. Actually, like what was it a little while ago? Like women overvalue themselves, and I was like, then why don't you overvalue you?
Yeah. Works well for them. Why not take it and make it work for you? If we're so much better than women or smarter than women and all this stuff that people brag about us being, well, like, put up or shut up, man.
Yeah, like use their own game against them. My God. Like,
all right. Oh, here. So I'll save that thought. I'm gonna thank you guys on this one. We're gonna switch over to the Patreon one. Check on your Patreon subscribers. We'll go to the last 20 minutes, and I'm gonna get to that question about the soap commercial in here because I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. But thanks, guys, for showing up. And then don't forget, once we're done, we're gonna be on the Redman group right afterwards. Starts at 11. Cheers, guys.
See you.